Okay, guys, welcome to the live. I know it's been a moment. I know that I promised you guys Jessica Cruz a while ago, but better late than never, right? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to get my gloves on. I do not have my ring on today. We're going to do this mission without the ring, my friends, tonight. If you guys know Hal Jordan, there is a couple of comic book stories where he goes on missions, no cheating without the ring. Hey, A-Dub, hello. Let me put, yeah. Oh, hi, guys. Amazing. Let me pull this up a bit more here. There. So funny how like in the beginning you always like try to set it up this way, that way, the other way, and then you're like, oh, I should have just done it something a bit more simple anyways. So you guys, I haven't been doing a comic book read in a little while, so we're gonna do a bit of a throwback to hi Daniel A, how's it going? I know I haven't been live in a bit. I've been writing my book. So this is the book. My dad actually gave me this all marked up because he's like, I read your book, Rachel, and I have some edits for you. I'm like, fair enough. I'm a writer, not necessarily a great copy editor, but I did need to get this out. If you want to get this on Amazon, it is on Amazon right now. But that is not going to be tonight's read. Oh, Daniel A, thank you. Appreciate it. For all of you guys who don't know who I am Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern. Hello, Xavier. Are you a Superman as well? Let me get my. See, I didn't line up the shot up properly, as per usual. So I'm in kind of like my home studio in Winnipeg, which I have like kind of. I'm going to be painting this whole back. Well, I have my wolves, of course, behind me. You know what? Let's talk about the wolf pack for a second. And Daniel, thank you for sharing your energy tonight. Oh my gosh. The gloves are part of it, I think. So let's do that. I'm going to bring the mic close. And then where did I put the actual comic book? Oh my gosh. If you guys could see my actual room, it's so messy. That's the funny thing about like what you see on stage and like what's behind stage. Like no one knows. Hi, Gwen Stacy. I know I've been a little absent. Been taking care of my mental health. Trying to. Hold on. Oh yes. So we're gonna go back to this, which yes, it is a Supergirl read, but it does feature the Green Lanterns in it. So technical but not technical. So let me bring this here. Let's talk about the wolves. Hi, Dandy Money Man. Welcome you guys to the live. Thank you for the heart me. We are in June too, you guys. Summer solstice is just around the corner. Can you see my wolves okay? Oh, so how have you guys been? Good? Not so good? It's okay if it's not so good too. For me, it's been some days being awesome and then other days are like it's crazy. We've been having some crazy storms out here in the prairies. Like might as well be the movie Twister, right? Angel Martinez, thank you. Okay, and Pokey, yes, I was online Discord tonight, but I was playing D&D tonight and I had to be heavily invested because I am the heavy on my D&D team. I roll pretty good. Hot today in California. Oh my gosh, beautiful. I love the hot weather. Oh, speaking of which, I don't think Jessica Cruz is from anywhere hot. I think she's from like Seattle or something. Well, I have been doing a lot of I don't know if I can talk about it freely because I'm gonna have to lay like legal charges against someone who was once someone I thought was like a good person. So that's been hard. Okay, so let me bring it back to tonight, reintroducing you guys to Jessica Cruz. I do take forever to perform one task because I am in many universes at once. just one of many. So welcome, Lantern Core, to this meeting of the Cosmic Comic Book Club. I am your host for this evening, Jessica Cruz. I am one of the latest, greatest, new gen, I'll say, Green Lanterns. I'm the first female Green Lantern of this sector, and lucky you guys, I am your guardian of this part of the galaxy. So, without knowing much about Lantern lore, like it's funny, one of my girlfriends, Aria, who I used to do like a lot of podcasts with, she used to tease me about how much I liked the Lanterns, because she's like, why do you like the Lanterns? They're so boring and militant, and I guess you could kind of say that they're like the cops of the cosmos, right? So in cop shows too, like if you think of like True Detective, and I guess that's why the HBO show is kind of going in that direction to show like, oh, you're like private investigators, or like, you know, good cop, bad cop of the universe kind of thing. Josie and Hal are in bed. I just gave Hal a head massage. He was dealing with a lot. So I don't think people like, oh, we're going to go on a... Gwen Stacy, you're about to just take me off on a tangent. Cool. This is actually a tapestry. It's my wolves. And Maury Landry, how are you? Hello. And thank you for bringing me back to the topic that I wanted to talk about. Paint. But you know what? An artist, this is Mugwort. So Mugwort is an artist who does do actual paintings. If you go to Third Eye Tapestries, they have many tapestries done by real artists that a lot of the sales go back to those artists. So if you're an artist as well, I think you could maybe even sell your art, and maybe I'll buy your tapestry too, and it can be behind me during the Cosmic Comic Book Club, right? What? There's a new Halo game? I'm behind. I've been living in a rock, writing. Amongst other things, having like emotional breakdowns lately. It's been crazy lately. There's a lot to catch you up on personally, which is like Cassie, oh hey girl, Cassandra. I am as good as can be in the moment, right? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If we have like, you know, those meters in like the video game of like, you know, I'm full of snacks. I just made some oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, which I'll show off tomorrow. And so I have like vanilla ice cream. I love like comfort. I'm a Taurus, right? So like food wise, my bar is good. Yeah. Love wise, high bar there too. But there's some other things going on, like my mental state, that have been like all over the place lately. It's just been, I've been trying to find a therapist. So I've been having therapy lately, but it's not specific to what, like my person, right? It's not to say that anyone I've been speaking to or anyone is not, like, it's like personal training, or anyone you get to be part of your team in your life, like your hairdresser or these people who play pivotal roles in your life, just like a team, Green Lanterns. It's just about finding the right fit. It's not necessarily about people being better or less than the other, right? I think we get so caught up in like the competitive nature of our society that we forget to be like, hey, there might be a scenario where we all win and we don't have to hate on each other. Right? I'm always overthinking it. And another tick attacked me today, you guys, but that's a whole other story. Right before D&D, I like pulled one off me, and like I screamed, and my dad and my Kevin like to kill it. It was just like this whole episode. I'm such a drama queen, but I am a drama queen, but I will still act just like in Halo. I will scream my face off, but I will still shoot the bad guy somewhat. Kind of. I get also like aiming is difficult when I get all but how does Kevin do? Well, he makes me all my food. If Kevin didn't make me my food, I probably wouldn't eat on time. I forget to eat very easily. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys appreciate the painting behind me. So, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys have totem animals? Do you have specific animals that you like, or do you feel like you vibe with? Like animal teachers, animal spirits? Because for me personally, the wolf has always been a very, like a totem animal for myself. I had a psychedelic journey once where I felt like I was like a she-wolf with like my pack out, and like we're like on a hunt together. I've also had like an experience feeling like a lioness too. So I love like this idea of like working on a team to like go on a mission together, kind of like what D&D is about, and also the Green Lanterns, right? So I forget, it was either Love, Death, and Robots or Secret Level, where they talk about the wolf, and I'm going to paraphrase this quote badly, but I like it. But the wolf by himself or herself is a hunter, right? A good hunter, right? But if you have a wolf with his pack, now you have an apex predator, right? So, yes, the gloves. Am I native? No, I'm not. But I am born in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So there's a lot of, I was friends with a lot of native girls, and people always mistake me for being Métis, which I'm fine with because I'm born like in St. Boniface, which is Boniface, I don't know, the Red River Rebellion, all that vibe. Yeah. So I have one of my goals this year, maybe not this year, maybe next year, I want to learn falconry, like have a little falcon, you know, learn how to like hunt small game with like the birds of prey, not to be confused with the birds of prey of the DC lore, but that'll be fun too. Oh, Manuel, thank you for saying that. I'm high maintenance in a lot of ways that I don't show, so I'm lucky to have him too. So I think it's more about you guys like finding your person, right? Where like I haven't dated in a long time, but you know, where we sometimes pretend to like certain things or certain movies because you're trying to impress the person you're like courting, right? But like you don't actually like these things. I actually like these things. You know, I love comic books. I love video games, all that kind of stuff. I've always had very like boyish tendencies, but you know, it was a lot because of like my mom being terrible, so I didn't really have a great relationship with women besides my best friends growing up. And I've learned on like I've recently healed a lot of that internally, and so a lot of me giving ode to the characters in the DC universe has been a lot of like healing a lot of like my inner archetypes of feminine, right? Now, when it comes to the wolves, right, I like to relate, you know, if you guys have totem animals, I don't know if you, with hunters as kids, that how they got their food. That's cool, Gwen Stacy. That means you have like Orion, the constellation of the hunter. There's stories in, I don't want to misspeak about what culture talks about it, but in terms of like, you know, how death begets life in the hunter, having respect for the prey that you know, through the sacrifice of that animal, you then have life. So that's cool. Jolly Roger, what is my favorite comic right now? Oh, wow. That's tough. I've been going back to a lot of old reads that I've done in the past. And recently, you guys, I mean, I do love the whole epic crossovers, right? Where you have Prophecy, like Doomsday Clock, Watchmen, and DC, or Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then Final Crisis. Like, what are they going to do? The fabric of multi-space reality is at stake. What do we do, guys? Oh, I think, Manuel, where are you located? Are you in Canada? I feel like it might be different depending on where you live. I also had this, like, inspiration to myself, because you guys know I'm writing a book and I do a lot of creative stuff, but I was like, you know what? If I were to go back to school, I'd be a vet tech, you know? I'd like to get, like, hands-on, like, real practical experience working with like that. So San Antonio, Texas. Okay, that's cool. Very cool. I love Texas. Yo, I do. Texas has a lot in common with the prairie provinces, I find, in terms of like, you know, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. There's a lot in common with like, you know, the wild Mustang vibes. So like the wolves, the Wild West. There's my hubby, who is from Toronto, being out here in the prairies, he's just like, whoa, you see so much of the sky out here. I'm like, yeah, it's trippy, right? So you have the space for your imagination to like run wild. It's kind of cool. Oh, my fan club has just completed the first stage of the Heart Me Challenge. So just going back to you guys, the story I wanted to tell you guys, not the story I wanted to, actually, wait, I can tell you the story off the top of my head because I don't have the comic books with me right now. I'm in a tough living situation at the moment just because when we went from Toronto to here, as you guys know, I'm working on a movie and a bunch of creative projects. We actually have a few gigs coming up here in Winnipeg in person. More to come on that tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to share with some stuff behind the scenes as we're meeting with the owner tomorrow. As well as, oh my gosh, we make a few movies, and Kristen Kruk mentioned Winnipeg the other day. So I'm hopeful. Kristen, girl, time for us to collaborate. Lana Lang, get at me, girl. Where are we? Where was I talking about this? I got on like a whole tangent by myself. Oh yeah. So I've been in a state of duress lately. You guys know that like I've been dealing with like coming to terms with a lot of old memories, because when you revisit old memories, some of them are very traumatic, and so when you even think about them to try to tell the story, you like your whole body goes into that whole like what it felt like to be in it again, and it's hard. But then like, how do I ever like talk about it if I don't revisit it? Anyways, since doing that, I had to deal with a lot of like childhood abuse stuff. And in doing that as well, I realized a lot of stuff that went on with like between my hubby and his dad, so my father-in-law. I don't want to get into too much detail because a lot of stuff is going to have to go through like the legal aspect of it, but we had to basically leave a really violent situation. And I've actually come to terms with like, you know, why we protect our abusers, right? And this actually brings it back to me playing as Jessica Cruz tonight, because oftentimes I cosplay as characters that I myself can derive strength from. Miss Cruz, oh, Belle's back. Thank you so much. And you guys, any one of you guys who relates to Jessica Cruz, who knows who Jessica Cruz is, knows that she and I struggle with PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, right? I'm actually in the process of having Wolfie being signed up, my Wolfie, because I have a little doggo that I've named Wolfie, as my service dog, as like my emotional support companion. So let me recount, if you guys aren't familiar with Jessica Cruz's origin story. I personally, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I used to love horror movies growing up. And I think a lot of people who have gone through like crazy abuse scenarios or gone through craziness appreciate horror, because you're like, real life has nothing on this. Next week is Supergirl, Oria Prince. So I'm ready to show up in the theater in cosplay. So maybe we can catch some of that live. I'm a Scorpio, so I dig horror. Oh, yeah. I look at horror, too, as almost like... I know some of you guys don't like horror. I have a lot of friends who don't like horror as well. I look at it as psychic training, right? So if you, like, learn how to deal with being scared, because I like being scared, and then, like, you learn how to, like, modulate those emotions and that kind of stuff. Now, it's different when this kind of stuff happens in your real life and you have to deal with like real life hormones and emotionals and response stuff, right? How our brain responds under trauma and under duress is not normal, right? And then that kind of stuff, you know, we have to have a bit of, I think, some forgiveness for ourselves when we go through certain things. That's just an opinion. Now, what's a horror movie you think no one has seen? A rarity. Oreo Prince. Ooh. Whew. I grew up at a time when like Scream was first coming out. So the old slasher movies of like, I Know What You Did Last Summer, The First Final Destination, Urban Legend, these big ensemble things of like, who's the killer? I love whodunits too, like murder mysteries and things like Agatha Christie, that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm young? No, people tell me I'm old all the time. Thank you for that. Well, I do love the old 80s horror too, though, like The Thing. John Carpenter is a big favorite of mine as a director. I love you, John Carpenter. My movie that I'm making is actually a spiritual successor to Escape from New York and Escape from LA, which I'm calling Escape from District 6, which is going to be a musical dance retro synthwave musical movie, which I'm trying to fund on Indiegogo, but I've been so sidetracked with life. As I said, me and my hubby and my doggo, Wolfie, had to flee from an unsafe situation where, you know, literally when other people's mental illness is causing certain things, it can hurt people around them, right? And so the one you grew up on in terms of horror, well, I mean, in my grade 8 grad yearbook, I wrote that Scream was my favorite movie. Scream 2 wasn't great. It wasn't that great, though. But me and my friends were those people who also, like, recreated scenes, because horror's a really cheap genre of movie to make, in the sense of, like, if you just keep everything dark, have like a fog machine, you can get away with like, it's just a shadow. And really, most things in horror, the scariest things are before you even see anything on camera, unless you have some of the practical, gory effects. Like, I think squibs look way better than CGI stuff, right? So there's just something about things being done in camera, and then the CGI seamlessly blending it in, and I just... there hit a time in like 2001 where I feel like in the early 2000s, CGI hit like, it's like, okay, maybe things are going to start getting better. And it just never did. And now we have AI, and I don't know. They make the room cold too. Yes, it wasn't. The movies, actually horror movies that, okay, I didn't really answer your question now, did I? A horror movie that I think... it just came to me. I love some of the lesser known Stephen King remakes. Oh my gosh, The Mangler is a good one. Go watch it. It's about like a possessed laundry pressing machine. So it like gets demonically possessed and starts to like kill people at the laundry place. And so they have to like do an exorcism on the on the laundry machine, which just goes the Langoliers. Oh yeah, seen it. You've seen it? Do you like it? I think it's that was good. I think people should see, just because I think there's a lot in a lot of those more I used to love things like also Twilight Zone, Creepshow, where like Tales from the Crypt anthology features with like horror stuff. Then Langoliers, yes. Also, it's funny, this movie's not a good movie, but I don't know if you guys remember Dreamcatcher by Stephen King. I remember watching that movie at the cheap seats with my friends, because it was always Toonie Tuesday here, so you could watch like all the movies that were kind of like about to hit VHS tape for $2 on Tuesdays. So it was a commonplace for us to go and watch like, the movies that weren't like good enough to see, at first. But movies and seeing things with your friends, I think, is a good way for me to talk about reality itself, you guys. Because think about it. Like, if we all were to watch a scenario or a scene or a movie or read a comic book together, what we each personally are going to take from it is going to be unique. It's not to say you're not going to have a lot in common, right? When we talk about Jessica Cruz, right? So I'd even explain her. Jessica Cruz to me is a final girl. So what is final girl, right? So final girl in like horror tropes, right, is the girl who's like the final survivor, the Sidney Prescott, right? The Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, right? The girl at the end who's like, yes. So to me, Jessica Cruz is final girl. Now, what doesn't go into the whole concept of final girl is the psychological trauma that final girl probably has surviving something that literally all her friends did not, right? Supergirl's also kind of a final girl, if you think about it. Not in a horror trope, but in like a, survivor guilt kind of situation, right? So Jessica's story goes like this. Her and her friends were going out camping, right? And while they were camping, like, Goodfellas style, they were like, some mob guys were like getting rid of a body, right? So Jessica and her friends accidentally are witnesses to these mob guys getting rid of a body. Mob guys see them, so of course they don't want any witnesses to their nefarious actions. So they go and like, they basically kill Jessica's friends. I don't know how Jessica herself gets away. Either she plays dead or something happens or she survives, right? But she essentially is the sole survivor of the mob guys getting rid of like all witnesses to them getting rid of this guy. Now, there's two things that happen to Jessica at this point, right? She has PTSD and major guilt from, of course, surviving something that her best friends didn't. And two, those mob guys are still out there. And if they know that she survived it, they're probably going to come after her too, right? So that's another thing with Final Girl, right? Michael Myers is always going to come after you, right? And it's like Sidney Prescott, hello, Sidney, always going to come back. So you have to then deal with it. Now, as a result of this trauma that Jessica, myself, have gone through, the Ring of Volfum, which has a couple of origin stories, but let's synthesize it into it being a ring of fear. It is attracted to those who are in that fearful vibration or state. So it fuses to Jessica and she ends up being, taken over by the Ring of Volfum, the fear ring, because she's already in that like frequency state. Now, I forget what exactly happens where she like sacrifices herself to save Flash, or there is an act of great courage on her part where she has to like, even though I'm terrified, I'm going to still do the right thing, right? And through doing this, she transmutes that Ring of Volfum and she becomes then worthy of the Green Lantern ring, right? Because a big key to being a Green Lantern is the ability to overcome great fear. And this is why they are opposite, the Sinestro Corps, the yellow rings, the fear rings, because the fear rings work by, I think this is where the fear rings are different than the Ring of Volfum, because they're not necessarily attracted to fearful people. It's more about being someone who's able to cause fear in other people, right? So I love Scary Movie too as a kid because it's funny. Yeah, I loved Scary Movie. I miss movies like that, the spoof movies, right? Back before like they jumped the shark, they always have to push everything into the ground, and like make it too like shticky and like gimmicky and stuff like that. Just a little bit of gimmicky and like nostalgia is good. Just a little sprinkle, not like dousing the whole thing in too much salad dressing, right? The moon is cheese. I believe it. No one really knows. That story is on DC Universe Online. Thank you, Prince of All Saiyans. That is good. It's good to know. It's part of the mythology. And I think many of us who've had to deal with overcoming great fear in our lives can relate to Jessica Cruz, because she actively speaks about how, you know, every time she goes out there, she's terrified. And I can relate to that too, right? Because I used to be, oh my gosh. So I'm finally going to be putting together my global go-go dance crew, right? We're going to battle. It's going to be great. I'm going to like dance again. But I used to be that girl in Go-Go Power Ranger. Yeah, R.I.P. Green Ranger. Still love you, man. This is the Dragon Zord. I love it. Early 2000s, not that bad. They had some good TV series and movies. And you know what? Like, horror can be funny sometimes too, right? There's ways of that, like, it, like, not like dark humor. That's, I think, a different thing specifically. But, like, some horror is just funny. I don't know if you, like, I love Vincent Price, for example, right? So Vincent Price and myself, our astrology is like flipped. So I'm a Taurus with a Gemini moon. Vincent Price is a Gemini with a Taurus moon. So Tommy was the shit. Yeah, Tommy. So full disclosure though, I had the biggest crush on the Red Ranger. And my bestie, Laura, had the biggest crush on Tommy. And we used to like argue over who was hotter. But I guess I lost because there was no more Jason after a certain time. We got Rocky, or whoever the heck that guy was. I was cheering on the cat who was attacked Sydney. And yeah. Tommy rocks. We the North. Yeah, we love you, Tommy. So sorry that this life got really hard for you, man. I know that he was going through some tough times, and you just never know what people are struggling with, right? And it's funny, right? When we think about a lot of these properties that have like meant so much to us, it's like, I don't think we realize that story, as, you know, like as random as Power Rangers are, us knowing all, understanding the Green Ranger and like realizing like what that means is like a secret code between people in a weird way, right? Vincent Price and I share the same birthday. Eric Day, that is very cool. R.I.P. Vincent Price as well. So Vincent Price, oh my gosh. He, my favorite movies of him are Dr. Phibes. Dr. Phibes and Dr. Phibes 2 is my favorite one. It's like divine retribution and justice, right? Like he's supposed to be the bad guy, but you're like rooting him on because like those people deserve it. Because like they killed his wife Victoria, and they deserve to die according to the 7 deadly sins. Me and Jack Nicholson share the same birthday. What birthday is that? I wonder. I don't know what sign Jack Nicholson is actually. Oh my gosh. Do you guys like the Kubrick? Well, Kubrick doesn't really do horror, but Shining was terrifying, right? But it's well known, I think, that like Stephen King didn't like Kubrick's version of The Shining, because we all know it's disclosure on the moon landing, right? I wish there was more Jessica Cruz books. I mean, there's Unearthed, but yeah. And you know what? I find that I've read a few comic books with Jessica, who does actually work usually with her partner Simon as a team, right? I remember she once asked this question of like, how come this sector has so many, like, how come Earth has so many Green Lanterns, right? There must be something special about us. But she tends to just be kind of like a side character. And I don't know, I just tend to like gravitate. I love the side characters for some reason. Like Felicia Hardy in Black. I know that's a completely different universe, but these characters that have these like very rich backstories and side stories, because if we think about like, let's say your life is a book in the grand quantum library of all things, right? And it's a comic book even, right? So you in your own comic book, of course, are the title card character of that comic book, right? Whatever your superhero name is, flashed across the screen, right? But you're going to have crossovers with other heroes. And not only that, you're going to have people in your own you know, story, which are going to be side characters, yes, in your story, but they themselves have their own title card stuff as well, right? So, and you in their story are going to be like a side character too, but that doesn't make you any less important in your story, right? And nor does it make you less important in the grand cosmic story, right? It all like really does matter. Oh, Road Warrior, good morning. I need to, I'm going to be logging off soon. I just wanted to, let's see here. Gwen Stacy, Poltergeist is one of those movies that I find very scary. I don't know. I find, what was the other one I found scary? What's the one with the, not the Upside Down, but it's like the other world. Oh, thank you for the gifts. Oh my gosh, oops. Finger hearts and roses. You do little finger hearts. Where was I going with this? Okay, actually I wanted to read you guys a little bit from The Killers of Krypton with Supergirl. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about working on a team, right? Versus working on your own. And then, yeah, because that's kind of like where the lanterns are different, right? Because if you have all the different lanterns, do you guys have a favorite Green Lantern? You don't have to say me. You can. I'm definitely happy to take that title. But my favorite Green Lantern is Hal Jordan. Because I have a big crush on him. But it's more of his personality than anything, right? Because there's a story with Hal that I read where he's a fighter jet pilot. So is Carol Ferris, though, Star Sapphire, which is kind of pretty badass, too. But he's supposed to fly this new jet, right? And he says to his, I don't know, corporal leader, the guy, like, Navy, Army guy, leader guy, he's like, okay, I don't think he says this to him, but he basically tells the ring, because the ring has like a sentient consciousness in it, and he's like, okay, ring, I'm going to leave you behind because I don't like cheating on these types of missions. So lo and behold, Hal takes the new jet out, and he goes through a portal, and he goes through the portal without his ring. And he's like, damn it. And I forget what exactly happens, how he gets the ring back, even though he's in like a hell realm without it. He finds like his other like friends. And, you know, that's the great thing about comic books, right? No matter how crazy the scenario gets, you will always find a way out. So even if you are going through dark times in your life, you know, there's got to be a way, right? Fabric of reality, you know, all that stuff, no problem. So this comic book, The Killers of Krypton, first of all, back when I was a project manager at the hospital, I used to be a PM, a digital PM for a product called Band, which was for diabetes, right? But back then, I used to come in really early into the office because I was always I was a personal trainer as well, right? So I was always juggling like 5 million different jobs. And so I always like to go to the gym really, really early in the morning. I'm talking like 5 in the morning or 5, 6 in the morning. And so I could get to work or like before 8. That way I could leave before 4 and then see clients at like 5:36 and that kind of thing. So, but one of the guys that used to come in early at work too found out that I loved cosplaying and I love comic books. So he would gift me every Tuesday Batgirl comics, Supergirl comics, all of the DC ladies that he read and he gifted them. So thank you so much. I still read those comics and they're gifts. So it's just, there's something really special about it. When someone gifts you a story and goes like, you know what? I think you would really like it. And then when you vibe with it, you're like, whoa, what is happening? So this comic book, if you go onto my YouTube channel, if you go onto my Cosplaying Comic Books channel, I finally reached, I also just reached monetization on YouTube, you guys. So thank you to all of you who have subscribed and watched my videos, because I'm finally monetized. I'm like, what? I'm like officially a creator. Yay. Oh, thanks, guys. Oh, thanks, Erin, you guys. Rachel Sabrina is with a Z. Rachel Z. Neanzatonic, you have that in common. Is my YouTube channel. So if you go on that YouTube channel, my very first cosplay and comic book reading is with my doggy Crypto, and we're reading this story. That's why it's all tattered up and worn and stuff, right? I feel like we kind of inspired the whole Supergirl and Crypto thing, because Supergirl and Crypto actually go on a mission together in this. In Woman of Tomorrow in the comic book, Crypto's not in that. I don't think so. I think Comet the Space Unicorn's in it. Well, in the issues I read, he's not in it. Regardless, this was the comic book I first read with my doggy Crypto, with Wolfie. And so, funny thing here in the Humane Society, they actually have this volunteer program to help kids learn how to read with doggies, because dogs have been known to like regulate, you know, anxiety, your emotions, so that like you can like focus and learn better, you know, in the presence of like more comforting vibes, like a doggo, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, Wolfie, it's like this role is like meant for us. Yes, this is my green eye. That actually, you guys, before we start the read, I'm not gonna do a whole thing, but we should recite the oath, right, Core? Let's see here. Brass Tax Fitness, I will uncensor your comment in a bit. I don't know why TikTok lets through certain things, or I'm like, why? And then other things where, what the heck? Shall feel my wrath by light of gray. Yeah, but look at my, yeah, you know. Do you believe the world deserves a Dark Hawk movie, Earth 616? I feel like they should do a little bit more brass tacks to differentiate the different Earths. You know, like how the crime syndicate comes from like, for Earth, what they're from. But then like Earth 2 versus Earth Prime versus like Earth 33, which I think we're supposed to be, because it's like the one Earth that doesn't have superheroes, but that's where superheroes come from. The source world. But I think that I'm not actually familiar with Dark Hawk. I'm gonna make a little note. I do have grays though. It's actually lighter now too, because we've been getting a lot of sun, so I've been having sun-kissed highlights. And oh, that's wonderful. Camel bite. Yay. That's not true, actually, Ravenson. You know what? Let's start with the oath. I don't know. Should I kick you out? I don't know. I feel like, are you good vibes? I'm like a grizzled Hal Jordan. I'm like a grizzled Jessica Cruz. Jessica Cruz when she grows up. I'm happy with it, actually. My hair is actually much healthier now than when I was MK Ultraing myself with like bleaching it blonde. I was only referring to the Marvel universe. Oh yes. I think also too in Marvel, I could use a little bit of more of an explainer with that multiverse. Brass Tax Fitness. It's unfortunate I don't have my Jean Grey with me, because my name is Rachel, right? Like Rachel Summers, who has I think she teaches Great Lanterns in the fanfic are better than DC canon. Are there fanfics of this? Because think about it, I feel like Grey, not to go all side tangent, but like, are there actually Grey Lanterns? I wouldn't mind that, because I like silver. Because then what's the difference between silver lanterns and Grey Lanterns? Like, I love silver dragons. So what's the difference? Okay. Let's do the oath. That's what I was planning on doing, and then I got on a whole like tangent. And then we'll do the read for like a couple minutes, then I'm gonna go because we got a big day tomorrow. I got meetings and stuff like that. And I meant to be on way earlier, but I had to put my monocle on to see all the evil out there. Volthoom was a gray ring. Wow, Kev's collectible spot. Was it? So, do you know off the top of your head Kev's collectible spot, not to put you on the spot? Pun not intended. There's 2 origin stories to the Ring of Volthoom, right? The best parts of red, yellow, and green combined in gray. There's also, I think, I'm not as familiar with this, but I think that there are other combinations of the different rings. But I'm not familiar with, like, how can you have combinations with, like, how does that work, right? Because the different rings interact differently with each other. Because I've read you guys' Quest of Hope, right? Where they try to find Saint Walker, who's a blue lantern ring. And where's I going with this? They needed Kyle to go with Hal on this mission because the white lantern ring and the blue lantern ring have some sort of like intrinsic connection. And so the white lantern ring is life and blue is hope. So I don't know, right? And also like love, which are the star sapphires, are actually like villains oftentimes because love is blind, I suppose. We all do some crazy things when we're in love. Okay, guys, let's recite the Green Lantern Oath to all my Green Lantern Corps out there doing their thing in the galaxies. In brightest day, in blackest night, let no evil escape my sight, and let all those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. All right, let's do a couple of pages. How long does Josie sleep? Not long enough, Gwen Stacy. I feel like about as much as you do, maybe, to all the night owls out there who barely sleep because your imagination's constantly running wild. All right, so in this story, Supergirl goes to Mogo, which is the sentient planet of the Green Lanterns, to find the redacted files in the previous episode that Hal scanned the axe that was like apparently done by the guy who killed Krypton, which I thought it was a natural disaster, but hey, I don't know. I don't have my Green Lantern comic books with me because of the situation that I'm in, so all of your gifts, all of your support go towards me getting all my ish back, but we will be hopefully taking this show on the road this summer, so maybe I'll get to see some of you guys in person if you guys are, on our travel tour list. So, but if you want to get this reading in full, I have like close-ups of the panel and everything with my doggo, and it's Supergirl reading, not Jessica. Supergirl was kind enough to lend me this copy. Have I heard of the first Lantern? Hal the Goat. Oh my gosh, I do love Hal Jordan. He's such a rock star. Hal reminds me of like, back when I used to read a lot more romance novels, those like Wild West cowboy guys who he's never gonna stay home for long, but while he's here, you love him and he's out, doing the thing. But I think I might have Kev's Collectibles spot. Could you please refresh my memory? And I was going to ask you a little bit about the 2 different origin stories of the Ring of Volthoom. I think one has maybe, is it related to Zatanna's father? Or am I just making that up? It's supposed to be a magic ring, fashioned from something. Kind of like the Ring of Power a bit more than the main rings of the emotional spectrum. But I'm just riffing off the top of my head. I don't actually remember. So here's Mogo, right? And so Supergirl and Krypto are on their little spaceship that Supergirl built herself because Kryptonians are super smart and apparently according to a conversation between Supergirl and Batgirl, Kryptonians learn engineering by the age of like 13 or something, right? So, you know. Let's see here. Wait, I think I have heard of the first lantern. Is this part of Blackest Night, Kev's collectible spot? Is it related to that? I had to revisit Blackest Night and those other tales. Okay, so let's go from when John Stewart, because I like John Stewart's like a perfect leader of the Corps, right? Hal is of course like, okay, let's go here. Let's say hi to someone. I can't do this with the gloves on, sorry. Ta-da, ta-da. Oh, Earth 1. You know what? I actually recently watched some stuff from The Brave and the Bold with the Birds of Prey. They do this cute little like, we are the birds of prey with like Huntress and Black Canary, and they all sing like this very cute. Am I missing a page? It could be. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is what I wanted to. All right. This panel right here. So her spaceship has exploded close to Mogo because the axe has reacted with something. And so the Green Lanterns have come out to investigate what's going on. And so Supergirl says in her head, "Ah, the cavalry has arrived, and not a moment too soon. John, Kyle, Bidig, so glad to see you guys. Crypto and I were on our last gasp out there." And John's like, "Oh, Kara? When Mogo sent us out to investigate an approaching aggressor, unknown level 5 power source, you weren't exactly what we're expecting to find." And Kyle, as a Green Lantern here, "Oh, thank you," says, "Yeah, Supergirl, if you wanted to get our attention, all you had to do was call, instead of blowing up your entire spaceship." You can see a little cute. I want to get like Wolfie a little Green Lantern outfit. Then you have a little, yeah. Oh, thank you again for the oranges, Brass Tracks Fitness. I do like oranges too. Citrus fruits. However, juice box wise, Five Alive did not like it. Way too sour. But I guess maybe in a mixed drink, perhaps. That's a tangent for another time. So Supergirl gets mad at Kyle making his joke, saying, "You think that this was intentional? Kyle, I'm going to risk Crypto's life and my life to call out the Green Lantern welcome wagon." And then internally, she says, "Temper, Kara, temper. They don't know what you know and how important this is to you." So then Kyle says, "Okay, of course not. It was a joke. Well, an attempt at one, to lighten the mood, I guess. We're all just glad you're not hurt," and then like John's like, "Oh my gosh, you're just shut up, right? Shut up, Kyle. This isn't helping." Thanks for bringing all your intel to the live in the chat as per usual, Kev's collectible spot. And stay tuned for a fun little real life, right? Because I look like the, in many cases, I look like the action figure. Let me see if I can, I don't have the light where I want it to be. Oh, I'll get that sorted out later. Twins, right? I went to a different mall today and I saw a few of the, I will get Jessica Cruz as an action figure though. It'd be kind of fun to have her around. I've loved little toys to have on my desk. It's good to have little totems. Okay, so she brings out the welcome wagon. Not impressed with Kyle's attempt at humor, but so John's like, "Okay, you're not funny, Kyle. Shut up, Kyle. This isn't helping." What say we continue this chat down where there's an actual atmosphere? Change the subject. Great plan. Excellent idea, says Supergirl. Nice axe, Kara. It was, genocidal madman's weapon, internally. And she says out loud, it was a gift. In a manner of speaking, right? Crypto, stop bothering the squirrel. And the little alien guy says, I am not a squirrel. Earth 1. So they're flying back to Mogo now. Crypto and not a squirrel in tow. We had no idea you were coming here, Kara. Is this visit personal or professional? Both-ish. Vague party of one, your table is ready. There's Kyle with the jokes again. Jokes. I'm kind of like that too. I like Kyle though. Kyle actually, fun fact about Kyle, he is able to like concentrate his will so much that he's able to fashion a heart, like a heart transplant for Orion, like a god. So that's a fun fact about Kyle. He also becomes a White Lantern as well. Kind of like how Tommy is Green Ranger and becomes White Ranger. How is that? How funny is that, right? How a Green Lantern becomes white. Maybe there's like some sort of greater mystery of the universe there. Showing up unannounced with a huge axe. I'd be suspicious of me too. I'm doing some research, says Kara, on the creature who murdered Krypton. John says, well, would you care to elaborate? Not really. Just some Kryptonian stuff. Very ancient. Very boring. Very boring files. I just need to know if it was an inside job. Some details about its seismic activity. Well, anything you need here, it's yours, Kara. If it's not in the archive, it likely didn't happen. Well, that's what I'm hoping. That is actually what I'm hoping. And so here we are. Lantern Stewart. Always a pleasure to see. Oh my. Oh, hello. I mean, Supergirl would be superimposing looking with that axe. But I think this is where I'm going to end this for now. I didn't want to be on too late. I did want to come on as Jessica Cruz and just talk a little bit of transmutation, of fear, all of that kind of good stuff, and wish you guys all the best, right? I do have my Cosmic Comic Book Club, which I'm actually having a little bit of a members only tier to have the full moon reads. So the first full moon is going to be June 29th. It's a strawberry full moon. So lots of strawberries. I'm trying to look for a place. And Kavana, thank you for the heart me. And thanks you guys for all of the gifts and support tonight for Miss Jessica and myself, right? And the Green Lantern Corps, right? The force of will and strength and overcoming fear and negative vibrations in the universe, right? So with that, in terms of like upcoming comic book reads, I am getting that all sorted out. Tomorrow is Friday. I guess it's already Friday right now, right? I'm actually having a few meetings to see about doing certain things in real life, and so I will be having some auditions very soon, and my Indiegogo campaign, as well as book 2 of my story, Dragon Warriors Battle for Mount Olympus, will be up next week. So that's kind of what I've been working on. That's why I haven't been alive as much, but that will be changing very soon as I hopefully get all of my ducks in a row. So to all of you guys who are able to join me tonight on this live, thank you so much. Lots of love to all of you. Thanks for all the love and support. And remember, you guys, it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in the cosmic game of life. So be sure to play as who? Exactly you. Because guess what? The universe is counting on you. But no worries. I got your back. And so does Jessica's, and so does the Green Lantern Corps. So you guys have great courage and keep doing your thing. Until next time, bye. Oh, this whole ending part is always so difficult for me.